G'day guys, it's Mark here from North Oz, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the first 5 things you should be doing to your new four-wheel drive. And in this case I've got my new Landcruiser Prado, and I've added a few stuff to it over the last 6 months, but just from my experiences there, I probably would have done things a little bit differently knowing what I know now. So in today's video, I'm going to go over the first 5 things I would do if I was to build another four-wheel drive again. So this might be for you if you just bought a new car or you bought an old car and you know, you're looking to modify it for going out and about. So let's get into it, guys. We'll roll the intro and we'll get stuck into the very first thing. So if I was to do my build all over again, I would 100% do this first. And it is to just install one more USB input just for a little bit of extra power, because there is one all the way in the center console area, but unfortunately that means that you have to run that cable all over your handbrake and it gets up really messy. So what I'd recommend you guys do is there's a whole lot of blanking plates here that you can just swap out for a USB input, and you can just go ahead and put that there. Super handy for all sorts of things. You can charge stuff off it if you want, but I use it to power my Garmin InReach Mini, so that stays on all the time as I drive, and as I turn on the vehicle that comes on with it, and then as I turn it off the Garmin shuts off. So just super handy to have. You could of course do that with a phone mount or something, and you know, you can run your maps and that off that, which is something I'm going to be looking into in the future as well, is running some maps for off-road, and I might even get a second input put in there as well. So I definitely recommend you guys go ahead and put a very basic, just a USB input in there, take it to an auto electrician, and I'm sure they could do it for you for a pretty reasonable price. So super handy. I recommend you guys do that. The second thing I would get, guys, is probably a really good roof rack. Now, it doesn't have to be a Rhino rack. This is a Rhino rack platform, Pioneer platform. Listen, I like this platform. It gets a lot of bad press because a lot of people don't realize that this has a weight limit, and you know, you can calculate that on the Rhino rack website. But a lot of people don't understand how the weight limits work on these racks. If you understand that and you know how that works, and there's no issues. So you could go with anything like a front runner or roller. There's a whole pile of different products that you know you could put on top of your vehicle here. But for me, I went with the Rhino Rack platform because I just like the ease of use for it. I could go down to my local auto barn, just a local store where I am, and I could just go and pick up one of these, and that's exactly what I did. I got one of these on special. Of course, I had to get rid of the sport rails as well, and then I put this platform on there, and it really only took me an afternoon to do. So it's super easy to do myself. And the other thing as well is it's got heaps of different accessories that I can put on it. So you can see here I've got my a nice little light bar on here, and it just sits really flush mounted because I have a Pioneer platform specific mount for it. And I've got some other things on here as well, like some camp lights as well. That's all built around this whole Rhino rack platform. And I've got a lot of other things on here as well, guys. I made my own little custom solar panel mounts as well. So I've got my solar panel up there as well. I've got my Max Tracks on there. I've got a shower tent awning, and I've also got a rear awning as well, and that will soon to be replaced by a 270-degree awning. So as long as you know the weight limits, like for example, you probably wouldn't be able to put a rooftop tent on there and then load it up with more stuff. As long as you understand that, it's been a great platform for me, and I've really enjoyed camping with it. So if you're like me and you bought yourself a 7-seater vehicle, you don't need seats 6 and 7. You go ahead, get those out. You can put your own DIY drawer setup, or you can buy some stuff off the shelf, or whatever it is you want to do. And it just gives you so much more room to be able to organize yourself for camping and also for your day-to-day life. I've really enjoyed kind of setting out the back area here, and that wouldn't be possible unless I got rid of those seats 6 and 7. Rattles and things sliding around just drives me nuts. So what I do is I go out and I buy heaps and heaps of this stuff here, which is just a basic non-slip mat, and I chop it up and I put it everywhere around the vehicle. Put it at the bottom of the center console area. This has a nice little higher up area, I guess you can call it, little section for like keys and phones and stuff like that. So I put that in there. It just stops things from sliding around. Great to put in all sorts of little places. We've got heaps of cubbies all around this vehicle, so it's great to just put it in all of the different areas in this vehicle, even things like in your drawers and that. So first thing you do when you go out and you get a full drive is go and swing by the hardware store and pick up a whole pile of non-slip mat and put it everywhere. So yeah, another little handy tip for you. Having a light setup has been so handy, even for just around the house doing stuff late at night. It's so good to have a good light setup, and I've got 2 on this side, 2 on the other side, and it throws light really far at night time. During the day, can't really see it, but at night time, boy, is it handy. And around the campsite, just having these on all the time, they don't draw a lot of power at all. I can run these pretty much all night, and I'm really only losing about maybe 6 or 7 amp hours, and these things put out a whole pile of light. So I've been really happy with these. They are on a mount to go on the Rhino rack, little rails there, so super handy. Easy to install, and yeah, just really good to have. So it runs off my secondary battery and it gives me light all the time at my campsite. Now I know I said I'd only do 5 things in this video, but you know what, I'll chuck in an extra one. The last thing that you guys should have is an easy to access first aid kit. All right, so I just have a really basic one here. It's got everything in it though, so it's basic in terms of covering everything that I need, from burns to insect bites. So this has been really great. I've used this a couple of times. I'm already bleeding again. But you know, you might want to put together your own one. And I have a couple of first aid kits in the car. So I've got this one that I have in the back here, and I've got one in the front where I can just grab it easily. And that's a road trauma kit. It's got heaps of stuff in it, like tourniquets and things like that. More for, you know, high impact events like car crashes and that. So I would highly recommend, if you haven't got first aid kits in your vehicle, you get at least 2, one within reach of the driver and one in the back for when you are camping, and everyone knows where they are and they're easy to get, not tucked away in some drawer somewhere. So easy to find, easy to see, easy to use. Alrighty guys, that just about covers my top 5. I ended up being 6 things that I would do to my vehicle when I first get it. And obviously some of this stuff was a bit specific to the Prado, but you know, a lot of these things, they apply to all vehicles. So I hope that you guys got something out of this video, and please tell me in the comments, what are the top 5 things you would do to your vehicle when you get it? Of course, I'm only really talking about more budget orientated things. So probably the most expensive thing on this list was the roof rack. And you know, coming in at around $1,300, I got it on special for roughly. So obviously that's going to be the most expensive thing, but try to be as budget conscious as possible. What's the top 5 things you would do to your vehicle the second you guys get it? And the other thing, guys, is I talked a little bit about the rear setup in this vehicle, and I do have a video on that as well. I've got a video about all the stuff pretty much we talked about today. But in the back, it doesn't cost much money at all to take out those rear seats. You know, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about is just free little tips that will just get you guys out and about a little bit more, carrying some more gear as well. Speaking a little bit further on those seats 6 and 7, removing those, it also removes a little bit of weight to give you a little bit more room in your GVM. So for example, I've taken out, you know, quite a bit of weight, probably around 130 kilos of weight in the car, and I've pretty much only just replaced that with things like the fridge and the battery system. So really, I don't need to upgrade my suspension at all yet, because I haven't actually added any weight to the vehicle. And with removing, I also removed another seat the other day as well, and that's just given me a little bit more, I guess a little bit more room in terms of not compressing that suspension, you know, a lot, which means my off-road performance is going to be a little bit better. So, you know, little things to keep in mind is that, you know, when we're talking about these tips and tricks, is that, you know, just do whatever suits you. Obviously, if you need seats 6 and 7, if you have a big family, then keep it. But, you know, try to keep that in mind as you're doing and modifying your own vehicles. What do you think you would really need? Start with that first. Write a list of the things that you would like to do, and what's going to get you out as soon as possible. Because the worst thing you guys could possibly do is be sitting around for months and months waiting for parts to be installed in your car and you're not going out and enjoying the Outback. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. Like I said, please comment your top 5 things you would do to your vehicle. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.